Hey, you guys. Happy Hump Day Wednesday. Ain't it Hump Day Wednesday? Yes, it's Hump Day Wednesday. So, hello. So, I want to welcome y'all to Tax Talk with Gwen, where I talk about different tax topics in the tax industry, tax deductions, tax credits, trying to give you what you need to know about the tax industry, what you need to know about the current tax season. So, today I thought it would be a good time, since we already kicked off, the official filing, everybody getting their documents now. So let's talk about your expectations for the actual tax season. Could this be the largest season that you get the biggest tax refunds? Because I see a lot of those types of ads on the internet. So when you come in, are you expecting a large refund? Let's talk about it. So let's talk about why they're saying that. So, one, if you don't know, back in July, the government signed a bill. It's called the One Big Beautiful Bill. And in that bill, they made some adjustments and they added some new tax deductions that are beneficial to some taxpayers. Now, my opinion, is this going to be the tax season that people get the biggest refunds? I don't think so. I also think that it might be for some taxpayers, not for all taxpayers, but for some taxpayers. Now, the One Big Beautiful Bill has a lot of different new deductions, a lot of different things that they changed, extended, or whatever. But what I'm going to talk about today is the four that I feel like is going to touch the taxpayers the most and who is actually going to benefit. Now, my personal opinion, I think the biggest tax refunds went out back in COVID, because it was a lot of different credits that benefited taxpayers, versus with this One Big Beautiful Bill, it's not a lot of tax credits that they changed or is going to be beneficial. A lot of the things that are in the bill is deductions, and it's a difference between a tax credit and a tax deduction. So for people who, or I want to say, are like middle income taxpayers, you might see an increase in your refund, or a lot of y'all be owing, so you might see you might not owe as much as you have in the past. An example of that is I did a client yesterday. He usually break even. He might get maybe $100 and some back in a refund every year, and he's okay with that because that's how he set up his W-4 form. But because of all these deductions for this year, he's actually, I haven't even called him and told him, he's actually getting back $3,000 this year. So for him, that's like the biggest refund he's got in years. So for him, this is going to be a big refund season, but his income is like 130 some thousand. So it's beneficial to him because he received the no tax on overtime deduction. So it benefited him. But will it benefit everybody? No. So let's talk about the different deductions, so that when you go into a tax company, or if you come see me, you make sure that you don't qualify for them, or if you qualify for them, make sure that you get them. So the first one is the senior deduction. This is a good one for my people who are 65 and over. Now, what the government, or rather our president, was saying back before the bill was introduced, was that he was going to have Social Security not be taxed anymore. Well, he wasn't able to do that, and so the middle ground was this senior deduction for people who are 65 and over. So a lot of people who are 65 and over is seeing a little increase in their refunds. So they're getting refunds that are bigger than usual. And a lot of them be owing because they have like Social Security, they have retirement, they have so many things, and they refuse, a lot of them, to get taxes taken out of their Social Security. So a lot of them be owing. So a lot of their balances that they usually owe are lesser because of the senior deduction. So if you're 65 and older, you have a 6,000 deduction if you're just filing single and head of household. And then if you're married filing joint and both of y'all are 65 and older, then it's a $12,000 deduction. And that's a good deduction for them because they needed it. They really, really, really needed it. So that's for them. Now, the thing about all the deductions in the one big beautiful bill is if you elect to file married filing separate, then you're not going to qualify for none of them. So FYI, if you use the filing status married filing separate, you're not going to qualify for none of them. So the senior deduction is a good deduction. So my seniors probably will see the biggest refunds they've seen in a while. Okay. Then we have the no tax on overtime. Now I think this is a big one for taxpayers, especially people who are making like 30, 40,000 and up until, the phase out a dollar amount. So this is a big one. Now it is different restrictions when it comes to the overtime pay. And you're not able to write off the full amount that you're getting when you get overtime. So an example of that is, say you make $20 and you're working overtime. So you're now getting paid $30. You cannot write off the whole $30. You can only write off the overtime amount, which is the $10. And they have some other criteria when it comes to the no tax on overtime. Now this deduction is up to $12,500, and it is helping a lot of taxpayers. So for a lot of people who make over $30,000 or more, a lot of times they don't qualify for like the earned income tax credit. And then they do possibly get the child tax credit if they got dependents. So have been able to write their overtime off, especially for my single taxpayers, that's a plus. So for them, depends on how much overtime they're actually able to write off, then boom, they're going to see bigger tax refunds. Now, what I've seen a lot of is a lot of my taxpayers who are making like 70,000, 60-some thousand, 80-some thousand. I even seen somebody who was making like 90-some thousand. They had like $39,000 in overtime. So a third of that is wrote off. In most cases, that was a good deduction for them. Okay, so a lot of single taxpayers who work overtime might see a bigger refund than they have seen in the past. Okay, and mind you, it's a certain income level that you have to make even for these deductions to even calculate or benefit you. Because my low income taxpayers really honestly have none of those deductions going to really benefit you like that. So we talked about the no tax on overtime. We talked about the senior deduction, and then we have the no tax on tips. And so that is for my people who get tips, and you have to be in an industry that is known for receiving tips, and they have those different industries online. Now, as far as W-2 wise, the employers do not have to do it, but they are putting, some of those tips on the W-2. Now, you have additional ones that you have to file, that you're not telling the employer about or your employer is not aware of, then those will be taken into consideration as well. But mind you, that's a huge deduction for people who get paid tips, and that deduction is up to $25,000. Okay, no tax on tips. And then last is the car interest deduction for individuals who are filing, of course, just their return. In the past, people who have a small business, not even in the past, because they still can, people who have vehicles and they use them for their business, they've always been able to write off interest, depreciation, all those different types of things when they file their taxes. But these are for individuals who don't have a small business. You just a regular taxpayer and you went out and purchased a brand new vehicle. Now, it has to be brand new. You have to be the first person to have ever owned it. It has to be new. So with that particular deduction, you're able to write off your interest that you paid for in 2025 for that particular vehicle. Now, the vehicle has to be assembled in the U.S. Final assembly has to be done in the U.S. And there's other criteria for that. I'm going to go over each one of these in a separate video. But it's beneficial. Now, if you just bought the vehicle in December, it might not be beneficial. Or at the end part of the year, it might not be beneficial because you haven't paid that much interest or maybe no interest at all. But if you bought it, mid-year, beginning of the year, then it's beneficial. That's another deduction for people who purchase brand new vehicles. So it's a lot of different deductions that are, again, going to be beneficial to a lot of taxpayers. But it's a lot of rules to these different deductions. And so if you do your own taxes, you might not be aware of all the different criteria when it comes to these deductions. So this might be one of those years you might want to go see a tax pro. Now, mind you, in the One Big Beautiful bill, there are other deductions that you can utilize when it comes to this tax season. I just wanted to go over the 4 that I know is going to be beneficial to a lot of taxpayers and kind of give you an idea what the deductions are. So, could this be the largest refund season? Again, it's for some people it will be, and for a lot of people it won't. So, hopefully some of y'all, qualify for some of these deductions, but make sure that if you're not getting your taxes done by us, because we're asking our clients, make sure you're asking your tax pro about these specific deductions, especially no tax on overtime, because this is a transitional year for that. And because it's a transitional year, the employers do not have to put it on your W-2. So the only how your tax pro is going to know that you had overtime, if it's not on your W-2, is if you give them your last paycheck stub of 2025, or in some cases you might have to go pull them out because some of them don't have year-to-date on them. So if you have not got your taxes done yet and you worked overtime, make sure you download your last paycheck stub of 2025 so that you can see if you qualify for that particular deduction or not. So I hope this helped y'all. I hope a lot of y'all can benefit from a lot of these deductions. I hope that a lot of y'all get, more in a refund than you have done in the past. Sometimes they just be running their mouth trying to make it seem bigger than what it really is. But hopefully some of y'all will benefit. So, if you're watching a replay, make sure you drop replay in the comments. If you feel like this information is helpful to anybody, make sure you tag them in the comments. Make sure you share the video out. If you're a small business owner, do me a favor, share your page. If it's a website, if it's a Facebook page, if it's a TikTok page, whatever you want to do to promote your actual business, share it in the comments. And I'll see y'all next Wednesday. Oh, lastly, if y'all looking for a tax pro and y'all want me to do y'all taxes, yes, I am always taking new clients. You can go to our website at www.experttaxservices.com. It's going to be in the comments. If you want to see us face-to-face or in-person appointment, you can check us out in Columbus, Georgia or Stone Mountain, Georgia. We're always accepting new clients. And for my previous clients who I have not seen yet, I can't wait to see you or talk to you. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you all have a good tax season. If this is the only video you watch, make sure again, drop replay in the comments. Drop where you're from in the comments too. Talk to y'all later. Bye.